Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Hannah Fink, and we finally got the preliminary reports from the severe weather event that we had this recent Sunday, October 26th. We did get a tornado report for what touched down in Elberta. We're going to be breaking that down as well as going over CoCoRaHS data, which is rain measurements, because besides this one tornado we had significant flooding events over in Baldwin County. We got a lot of amazing pictures over on Zoom and videos from you guys. That helps us out greatly. We also use that and send that to the National Weather Service to help them with their reports as well. So let's get right into it. Here is a look at the EF-1 tornado that happened in Alberta. It happened in Elberta, Alabama, which is in Baldwin County. That there in the red is the path itself. It was recorded as an EF-1 tornado on the Fujita scale, which, to give you an idea, that is 86 to 110 mile per hour winds being calculated based off of damage. Peak winds are at the bare minimum for the EF-1 scale, which is at 86 miles per hour. Its path length was about 1.02 miles. Its max width was about 50 yards. Fortunately, no injuries or deaths were recorded at all. That is always great news. This was on October 26th, which was this past Sunday. Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith was on air covering it. This happened during 10:53 p.m. That was when it touched down, and then it lifted at 10:56 p.m. So only about 3 minutes, but it had some pretty strong circulation associated with it. I'm going to read you the survey summary from the National Weather Service of Mobile. The tornado touched down just south of the intersection of Kleinschmidt Road and County Road 87, where minor tree damage was observed. Traveling to the northeast, the tornado crossed County Road 87, uprooting a couple of trees and removing portions of the roof from a small barn. The tornado continued to move to the northeast before strengthening along Warner Road south. Here, a large barn lost much of its metal roof paneling and several trees were uprooted. The tornado appears to have lifted before crossing Warner Road. Special thanks to the Baldwin County EMA for the assistance with this survey. So that is the summary there. One thing I did want to note, that this information in this statement is preliminary and subject to change pending final review of the event and publication in National Weather Service storm data. So we're going to look at a few pictures that we got here from reporter Stephen Moody. He was on scene the morning of to get these photos of said damage. This stuff is what we use to calculate the wind speeds of tornadoes off the Fujita scale. One thing for sure, to give you an idea, we use a calculation because you cannot get the peak winds by looking at a tornado, by being near a tornado. Also, that's just extremely dangerous. That is just not something you can do. Here's a look at some of those damage pictures there. Here is some more. This looks to be a playground out at a house. Here's some more of that metal roofing there. Continuing on. Here's a little bit more of that tin roof as well. Another thing I did want to show you is the CoCoRaHS data. So like I mentioned, this is how we measure rainfall. There's multiple different instruments across the entire area that got this. Mobile County did not get as bad. So this data was from October 27th, 2025 from 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. because they do it in the morning hours. So if we go back in time, it's not going to show anything from the storm. So let's zoom into Mobile County first and look at a few CoCoRaHS measurements there. So here's one in the heart of Mobile. This one observed 0.64 inches of rain. It is for the most part, that is in the heart of Mobile there. In the outskirts here, we got 1.15 inches of rain recorded in Theodore. Here we got 1.22 inches in the outskirts of Mobile. Let's look at the one north of Pritchard. This is in Chickasaw. We got about a half an inch of rain recorded there. And then here we have 0.6 inches of rain recorded in Saraland. And then 0.61 inches of rain in Wilmer. And then here we got 1.27 inches of rain just in southern Wilmer, just north of Mobile. And then nearly 1.5 inches of rain recorded in Tillman's Corner. So we had about, on average, about an inch of rain across the area in Mobile County. Let's look at a little closer to the shoreline. Here is 2.66 inches of rain recorded in southern Theodore. And then unfortunately we don't have anything for Dauphin Island, but here's something that we do have that is along the coastline. 1.4 inches of rain recorded in Fort Morgan. So we did have some flash flooding going on in Baldwin County, and as you can see, these numbers are significantly higher than what we saw in Mobile County. They saw that second round more than Mobile County did. I don't think we really got much more than a sprinkle or a drizzle there. This was actually how we saw that Alberta tornado, was from that second round that came in the evening hours. Meteorologist Nicholas Herboso and I were live on air for tornado warnings that happened in Jackson County, Mississippi, near Pascagoula. That is not in our viewing area, so that is why we're specifically only talking about the Alberta tornado. Then that tornado warned waterspout that came ashore in Orange Beach. I'm sure they're still observing that. They haven't really came out with anything stating that was an official tornado. We'll keep you updated if they do with that. But let's take a look at some of these totals. We have 1.5 inches of rain recorded in Daphne, 4.6 inches of rain recorded in Loxley, 5.37 inches of rain recorded in Fairhope, 5.48 inches of rain recorded in Summerdale. We have 5.56 inches of rain recorded in Point Clear, 3.27 inches of rain recorded in coastal Fairhope, the coastline along the bay, 3.6 inches of rain recorded in Foley, just right there on the road, and then we have 2.74 inches of rain recorded in Alberta. Now look at this. Now we're getting into Northwest Florida, closer to it. This is 7.4 inches of rain recorded in Lillian, 7.15 inches of rain recorded in Pensacola. And as we get closer to downtown Pensacola, we had 4.24 inches of rain. And then just on the outskirts of downtown Pensacola, 2.97 inches of rain. Then getting more into Pensacola, we had about 2.6 inches of rain recorded, just based off of the three that I see here. We had 2.49 inches of rain recorded in Gulf Breeze, 3.19 there located in Gulf Breeze as well. Let's go a little bit more inland of it. Here's Santa Rosa. We have 3 inches of rain recorded in Milton, and then 2.9. So we had about 2.5 to 3 inches of rain recorded in the Milton area. Here we have 4.22 inches of rain in Cantonment. Let's zoom out a little bit more. And then we had about 0.68 inches of rain recorded in Jay. Let's go into more northern spots. We didn't see much severe weather with our more northern spots. They actually were shaved out of that marginal risk the morning of. So we got about less than an inch, about a half an inch to less than an inch of rain recorded in these areas. We had 0.62 inches of rain recorded in Thomasville, 0.55 inches of rain in Mejia, excuse me if I'm saying that incorrectly, 0.29 inches of rain recorded in Bruton, 0.87 inches of rain in Jackson, then about 1 inch of rain recorded in Bay Minette. So overall, one thing I did want to point out is this event that happened on Sunday. We were technically in the lower threat for severe weather. We were in that marginal risk for a good portion of the weekend. Then the day of about an hour before we got a little bit into that severe threshold, we got upgraded to a slight risk, especially near the coastline. Overall, to give you a summary, we were under that marginal risk, and then the day of, we got into that slight risk, mainly for our coastal communities. We knew that was going to happen because the tornado parameters overall were pretty much higher near the coastline. We had a lot of spin-ups. All of these tornadoes that got reported, especially in Jackson County, as well as in Orange Beach, and then what we had in Alberta as well. All these spin-ups ended up touching down for the most part, and then the one in Orange Beach and Pascagoula, those all started with water spouts that ended up being strong enough to keep their strength on shore. So even though it was a lower end threat, it's still, you still have to respect that marginal risk, especially here along the Gulf Coast, especially during the month of October. We have these fronts move through that just kind of sucks in some tropical instability that usually helps fuel these water spouts, and that's why we have some of those tornado warnings issued. But for the most part, this is the preliminary report of Alberta and an update on the why we saw some of the flash flooding we did. Hopefully we see a difference in our drought-like conditions starting on Thursday. Our drought monitor gets updated updated every Thursday. A lot of us are in that moderate to severe. Maybe this will help us out just a little bit. Definitely some much needed rain. Unfortunately, it was just a lot of rain at one time, which is why we saw that considerable flash flooding in Baldwin County, and then a few other flash flood warnings as well. Thank you so much for joining me for Next Weather. We'll see you next time.